If you eat at these 6 popular restaurants, you might be biting off more than you can chew. You may want to finish this video before you finish your fries, because once you hear what these chains are hiding, your appetite might just disappear faster than a lunchtime special at half price. Let's start with the crowd favorite, Applebee's. It is the place where microwaves work harder than chefs. Former cooks have admitted that up to 90% of the food served at Applebee's arrives frozen, pre-cooked, and vacuum sealed. That sizzling skillet of fajitas? Not fresh. Just carefully staged steam and reheated meat packets. In fact, one former manager said the only things they actually cook from scratch are the eggs and the baked potatoes, and even those sometimes arrive half-prepped in plastic. A customer once posted a photo of their steak at Applebee's, if you could even call it that. It was gray, limp, and shaped like a pancake that had just given up on life. One commenter wrote, "That thing looks like it lost the will to grill." Another said, "Is that a steak or a damp rug?" It is not just the presentation that should concern you. Temperature logs from several Applebee's locations showed that some meats were being held at above 50 degrees in prep areas. That is a bacteria party just waiting to happen. The real kicker? Applebee's happy hour deals keep people coming in, but those cheap cocktails might be masking the quality of the food. Bartenders have shared that those colorful drinks are made with the cheapest bottom-shelf alcohol available. One former server joked that the top shelf was just where they stored the cleaning spray. The giant blue Long Island iced teas are more likely to clean your insides than impress your date. At least if the food fails, you might not remember it thanks to the neon margarita. Now let's slide into Subway, the place that claims to be healthy, fresh, and sandwich savvy. But fresh is a stretch when your tuna is the punchline of a national joke. Multiple lab tests in recent years have raised questions about whether Subway's tuna contains, well, any actual tuna. One scientific review in 2021 found no amplifiable tuna DNA in the tested samples. That is like biting into a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and finding no peanuts or fruit, just vague goo. Former employees have shared stories of mystery meat with expiration stickers peeled off and replaced. One even uploaded a photo of a plastic tub of chicken with the words "Do not use after Tuesday" scratched out and a new date slapped on. A customer once opened a sandwich to find a translucent chicken strip that looked more like a wet tissue than food. Reviews called it elastic, spongy, and possibly from another planet. Even the veggies do not always make the grade. A viral image from a New Jersey location showed brown lettuce, half-rotten tomatoes, and cucumbers that looked like they had been soaking in mop water. Health inspections across multiple Subway locations have cited poor temperature control, pest activity, and improper glove use. One inspector reported that an employee wiped down a prep counter with a rag, then immediately used the same rag to wipe lettuce. That is not just unsanitary, it is salad sabotage. Subway's famous bread has its own story. In Ireland, a court ruled that it contained too much sugar to legally be called bread. In fact, the rolls used for sandwiches have more sugar per serving than some donuts. So that 6-inch turkey sub might feel healthy, but nutritionally it is playing dress up. You are basically eating cake with lunch meat, and let us not even talk about how they toast sandwiches. One user uploaded a side-by-side image. Their bread was so unevenly toasted it looked like it had fallen asleep halfway through a tanning session. And yet, somehow, Subway remains the most widespread fast food chain in the world. Not because the food is good, but because it is cheap, familiar, and everywhere. But cheap and familiar are not the same as clean and safe. The next time you reach for a $5 footlong, remember, it might just cost you your dignity and your digestive system. Now for something a little more south of the border. Welcome to Taco Bell, the late-night favorite, the college go-to, the kingdom of crunch wraps and mystery sauces. But behind the bright lights and catchy jingles lies a menu of secrets that could turn your stomach faster than a dollar burrito. Employees have reported finding expired sour cream still being served, ground beef left out too long, and cheese that has turned crusty in prep bins. One viral video from a former cook showed the process of making beans at Taco Bell. It starts with a bag of brown powder dumped into a tub of hot water. Stir until mushy. Serve. These are not slow-cooked, seasoned beans from grandma's stove. These are rehydrated bean particles made in a lab and resurrected with boiling water. One commenter wrote, "I thought I was eating fiber. Turns out it was bean soup-flavored cement." Let us talk about that ground beef. Taco Bell's seasoned beef contains just 88% actual beef. The rest? Fillers like oats, soy, anti-caking agents, and silicon dioxide, which is also used in industrial products like sand and glass. You might think it tastes okay, but you are basically eating beef mixed with science fair leftovers. And while Taco Bell defends its ingredients, taste testers often describe their meat as wet, gritty, or weirdly sweet. Temperature violations are common at some locations, especially during late-night hours when fewer staff members are on duty. One former employee claimed that during rush hours, it was normal to skip temperature checks completely just to keep the line moving. That means some of the meat and cheese you are eating could have been sitting out longer than your Netflix queue. And let us not forget the ice machines. Multiple undercover food safety reviews have found mold buildup, black slime, and even bugs inside soda fountains and ice bins. One inspector noted that the Taco Bell ice machine was dirtier than the bathroom sink. Think about that the next time you sip a Baja Blast. That citrus flavor might be hiding a little mildew. Even the food presentation is hit or miss. A customer once posted a photo of their taco that had 2 teaspoons of filling and looked like it had already been stepped on. The comments did not hold back. One person said, "That taco looks like it regrets being born." Another just wrote, "Bro, blink twice if you're okay." But humor aside, the low quality and loose food handling practices can create serious food safety issues. And yet, Taco Bell's value menu remains one of the most popular in fast food. Why? Because the prices are tempting and the flavors are engineered to satisfy cravings. Salty, creamy, crunchy, all in one bite. But you know what else is salty, creamy, and crunchy? A science experiment with a Dorito in it. It might feel good going down, but it is the aftermath you should worry about. Do not let the fun branding distract you from the facts. When the food costs that little, it is often because corners are being cut everywhere else, including the corners that keep you safe, satisfied, and salmonella-free. Now let's talk about a chain that built its name on tradition, comfort, and family-style dining. Until you take a look behind the kitchen doors. Welcome to Olive Garden, where the breadsticks are endless, but so are the sanitation complaints. The next time someone tells you they're craving Italian, remind them that Olive Garden's pasta is boiled, frozen, and bagged before it even hits the restaurant. That Alfredo sauce they pour on top, delivered in industrial plastic pouches and reheated like a sad science experiment. Multiple former employees have admitted that Olive Garden kitchens function more like assembly lines than restaurants. One viral confession read, "You're not ordering dinner, you're activating a microwave meal with table service." A customer once posted a video of their lasagna that jiggled on the plate like it was made of gelatin. The top layer had melted into the bottom, the cheese looked like melted plastic, and the sauce had congealed into something that resembled tomato-flavored glue. Commenters were split between laughing and crying. And the salad? The one they hype up as fresh and unlimited? The lettuce often comes pre-chopped in giant bags and can sit in bins for hours before reaching your bowl. One former worker claimed that the olives are soaked in a preservative solution so strong, it leaves their fingers numb after prepping just one tray. So next time your salad tastes a little off, it might not be the dressing. It might be the formaldehyde undertones. Then there's the cleanliness. Health department records from multiple Olive Garden locations show a recurring trend. Improper food storage, utensils left in standing water, and, in one shocking case, a pasta bin found with insect activity. Yes, insect activity. That is not a garnish. That is a lawsuit waiting to happen. A customer once discovered a short black hair tangled in their fettuccine and posted the photo online. It went viral faster than the restaurant could respond. The caption just said, "Tell me this is seasoning, please." Employees have also complained about being asked to use the same kitchen towels for both wiping counters and drying dishes. One former dishwasher described the cleaning process as hope and bleach fumes. The staff turnover rate is high, which means undertrained new hires often run the food line with only a few hours of preparation. Someone might be mixing your shrimp scampi while still learning how to properly wash their hands. And while Olive Garden may want you to believe in its authentic Italian roots, most of its recipes come from a central corporate database, not from Nana's cookbook. The tour of Italy might sound charming, but all you're touring is a freezer aisle. The prices have gone up, but the quality has not. You are not paying for better ingredients. You're just paying more to sit in a booth with Tuscany wallpaper and slow service. If you want to help us keep cooking up content that's actually fresh, give us a like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Every bit helps us stay out of the corporate freezer. Let's move on to a chain that many still trust without question, Chipotle. The name suggests health, simplicity, and bold flavors, but it also comes with a track record of food poisoning incidents that could fill their own burrito. In the last decade, Chipotle has had more foodborne illness outbreaks than any other major fast casual chain. Norovirus, Salmonella, E. coli. Chipotle has served them all, like a buffet of bad choices. The issue comes down to two things: rushed prep and risky sourcing. Chipotle insists on prepping fresh daily, which sounds great in theory, but it often means undertrained employees rushing through chopping, marinating, and cooking under strict time pressure. One former worker said they once cut chicken while still wearing gloves covered in guacamole. Another said rice was sometimes left in warming trays for hours, crusting up on top while the bottom stayed mushy and lukewarm. That is not a texture blend. That is a bacterial breeding ground. Let's talk about the guacamole. It is made fresh, yes, but in such massive batches that one misstep, like not cleaning the prep bowls properly, can spread contamination fast. And speaking of bowls, there is a reason why you often see greasy fingerprints or bits of dried rice stuck to the rim. Workers are pushed to move fast, not necessarily clean. When the lunch rush hits, quality control drops faster than your blood sugar waiting in line. One of the biggest health risks? The lettuce. Chipotle still uses raw, unbagged romaine, and while that might sound better than pre-chopped greens, it also comes with higher risk. Romaine has been linked to multiple outbreaks, and when improperly washed or stored, it can carry bacteria that no vinaigrette can hide. In fact, in 2018, nearly 700 people across multiple states got sick after eating at Chipotle due to contaminated lettuce. A side salad should not come with a side of regrets. Another issue? Temperature logs. Chipotle requires that meats be kept above 140 degrees or below 40 degrees when not cooking. But in multiple lawsuits and employee reports, former workers claimed that temperatures were often recorded inaccurately or skipped entirely when stores were understaffed. That barbacoa bowl might be spicy for more than one reason. The risk is real, and the consequences are unpleasant. Even the menu can be misleading. Many customers believe Chipotle is a healthy alternative to fast food, but a typical burrito with all the fixings can easily reach over 1,200 calories and more sodium than you should eat in a full day. A manager once joked that their burritos were wraps of denial, and that most people would be better off eating 2 tacos and a nap instead. If you think you're eating clean, double check what's actually in that bowl. And yet Chipotle's brand remains strong, likely because of slick marketing and the illusion of freshness. But fresh does not mean safe, and fast does not mean carefully handled. Between rush staff, high turnover, and inconsistent food safety procedures, every visit is a gamble. The burrito roulette might give you a good lunch or a miserable night. We have covered 5 restaurants so far, each one with its own shocking secrets. But the 6th one might be the most surprising of them all. A place you probably drive past every day. One where the ice cream always seems to be broken, the burgers are picture perfect in ads but sad in real life, and the fry smell is stronger than your sense of caution. You guessed it. McDonald's. McDonald's is more than a restaurant. It's a global symbol. Over 100 countries, billions served. But if you think the world's most iconic fast food chain has spotless kitchens and top-tier standards to match that fame, think again. Behind the golden arches lies a laundry list of questionable practices, shocking employee confessions, and food safety warnings that should make any customer pause before placing an order. Let's start with that famously broken ice cream machine. It has become such a running joke that entire websites now track whether your local McDonald's has working soft serve. But it is not just about inconvenience. Several former employees and managers have confirmed that the real reason these machines break so often is because they require intense, time-consuming cleaning cycles. The machine must be disassembled, sterilized, and reassembled in a process that takes hours. Many locations simply skip it or leave the machine off to avoid the hassle. One worker said, "It's either broken, fake broken, or growing its own ecosystem inside." Then there's the myth of consistency. While McDonald's claims that every Big Mac should taste the same in every location, reality tells a different story. Employees in multiple cities have shared photos of burger patties stored at incorrect temperatures, cheese slices sweating under heat lamps, and lettuce that looks like it was cryogenically frozen and then shocked back to life. One viral video from a behind-the-scenes tour showed boxes of buns stacked on the floor next to a mop bucket. Cleanliness? Questionable. Efficiency? Sure. Appetite? Gone. Perhaps the most disturbing reports come from night shift employees, who reveal that deep cleaning is often rushed or skipped, entirely in favor of closing faster. A former employee from Florida said they were once instructed to serve fries from an oil vat that had not been changed in 3 days. The fries had a bitter aftertaste and came out darker than usual. Management's solution? Add extra salt and hope no one noticed. When it comes to meat, McDonald's advertises 100% beef, but that does not mean premium cuts. The beef patties are typically made from low-grade meat that's heavily processed, flash frozen, and shipped in bulk. Additives are mixed in for consistency, and the meat is cooked on automated grills that leave zero room for customization or care. If it is slightly undercooked or overcooked, it gets served anyway. One whistleblower showed how some stores will scrape off grill residue from undercooked burgers, reheat them, and serve them again. And if you think the chicken is any better, think again. McDonald's chicken nuggets are often frozen for weeks before hitting the fryer. A leaked factory video from a major supplier showed the nugget slurry, a pink paste made of blended meat and fillers, being shaped, flash frozen, and packaged like building bricks. McDonald's claims the process has improved in recent years, but former workers still describe nuggets as little meat mystery cubes. A customer once bit into one and found it hollow, just air, which honestly might be the healthiest thing they've served all day. Health inspection data from various states shows repeat citations for improper storage, unclean surfaces, and employees failing to wash hands between tasks. One inspector in Michigan noted that a worker handled raw beef, touched their headset, and then scooped fries without gloves or hand washing. That is not a value meal. That is a value risk. And while corporate policies might say one thing, the reality on the ground often looks very different. One of the most overlooked problems? The beverage machines. Those shiny touchscreen Coke dispensers are rarely cleaned as thoroughly as they should be. Mold, syrup buildup, and sticky bacteria harboring tubes are a common issue. One technician who services those machines shared that what's behind the panel is often worse than a college fridge on day 50. Think twice before grabbing that extra large sweet tea. McDonald's appeal is undeniable, fast, cheap, and always open. But that convenience comes with shortcuts, and those shortcuts can come with consequences. The employees are often underpaid, overworked, and trained to prioritize speed over sanitation. A former crew member summed it up like this: clean enough to pass, fast enough to profit. Not exactly the recipe you want behind your quarter pounder. And let us talk about taste. While the fries may be iconic, the moment they cool down, they turn from golden and crisp to limp and chewy. The burgers often have that flat, lifeless texture that makes you question whether it was ever juicy to begin with. One customer review simply read, "Tastes like a memory of meat." The sauces do the heavy lifting, and without them, the sandwiches collapse like a wet cardboard box. Even the breakfast menu, which many people praise, is not immune. The eggs in the McGriddles are pre-cooked and arrive in frozen puck form. The pancakes are mass-produced and shipped frozen, then reheated on a grill that may or may not have been cleaned since the night before. One employee shared that the syrup comes from giant industrial bags that sometimes leak and collect flies. That's not syrup. That's a health violation with a maple scent. And yet millions of people eat at McDonald's every single day. Not because it is good, but because it is available, predictable, familiar. And that familiarity becomes dangerous when it makes people stop asking questions. The truth is, many of the biggest restaurant chains survive not on quality, but on convenience and marketing. The food is engineered to be just tasty enough, just cheap enough, and just fast enough to keep you coming back, even if your stomach has a different opinion. But once you peek behind the curtain, see the frozen meat, the neglected machines, the rushed prep work, it is hard to unsee it. You start to notice the cold burger, the soggy bun, the fries that somehow smell like soap. You realize that billions served might just mean billions fooled, and suddenly that dollar menu feels a little more expensive. So what is the takeaway here? It is not that every restaurant is evil. It is not that every meal out will poison you. But the reality is, these 6 chains have developed reputations for cutting corners in ways that can impact your health, your wallet, and your trust. The common thread? Speed over quality, image over substance, cost savings over customer care. Not all food is created equal. Just because it is popular does not mean it is clean. Just because it is advertised does not mean it is true. And just because it is cheap does not mean you will not pay for it later. Whether it is in stomach cramps, disappointment, or another round of Googling, why does my burger taste like bleach? Eating out should be a treat, not a gamble. And if your gut is telling you something is off, it probably is. Trust your instincts, question the illusion, and maybe, just maybe, save your appetite for a place that respects your taste buds and your safety. Because at the end of the day, food should fuel you, not fool you. Restaurants won't always tell you what's really going on behind the kitchen doors, but we will. If this gave you something to chew on, hit like, subscribe, and share it with someone who still thinks frozen lasagna is fine dining. Thanks for watching, and remember, the truth isn't always on the menu.